That should be me. Hello, Tony, Honey, and um, yeah. I mean, there's else I can do right this second. So the snow is the snow. Over a foot of it last 14 hours. Went to let the dogs out, and there was 10 inches of snow on the deck, so I had to shovel them out a pathway. Yeah. How's this sound? There we go. Goes well overall. But snow brings with it some challenges. Set me up. Does that sound any better? According to the mixer, I'm going into red. Okay. Decibels on the gain. Also, I'm tired. Probably going to talk a little quieter anyway. Okay, so start the week a little bit more. Who's using? I'm using. It. So, uh, in fact, this project's on really good stage on dog feeding. That would mean that for yeah. Um, I mean, it's not a bad idea having someone play that role. Um, yeah, like how you predicted where I was going with the vision thing there, really well. Um, but you also have to make it available, and right now it's not available. I need to get this latest version up. Um, I mean, again, if I can get it set up and running again, more than welcome to test with it, to play with it. Do the grunt work of entering tickets. Um, we can certainly talk about it. Absolutely. I'm not close to that idea. It does help to have voice. Out of interest, what makes you interested in doing that though? Like the challenge, or and I've got the. I hope I have the chat working. What? Like someone joined and then I did. Nope, not for me. Oh, from yes, it does. Okay. At least somewhat invested in it. Well, yeah, we can definitely talk about it. Definitely look at that. And what I'm doing right this second is have. There we go. Okay. That was interesting. Okay, I get it. Um, that was fun. So I've got the prompt running right now on running integration tests. Like let's check the end-to-end tests, make sure they're running, because I see on my screen obviously an error. Gaming. I get it. I get it. I get it. Don't need to press. I've been pressing. I do that. That should show. That should hide. Okay. So I have. I I'm not, so that I don't keep having to drag the window up on the screen. I have it set as a shared source. So it's down on my little monitor down here, and I've got it set up as a source. But then I have the transitions in there, so I don't just randomly switch scenes around. So I have to press the prompt button, then hit switch, which just switches in that scene in where I am. So what I was doing is accidentally hitting the getting started screen every time I did it. Apologies. These things we learn, these computers have only been doing it. So what I'm doing is I'm just waiting for it to check on the end-to-end test, because I've added a lot of stuff over the initiative stuff yesterday. Last week I was working on the move to change planning items out for the phrase deliverables, and in those deliverables there's a little bit more information now. And Ivanhoe, hello, come in. So once the deliverables are in there, I got all that merged, and now I'm shifting my focus to initiatives, which I will. Yeah, okay. So in initiatives, we have the dashboard and we have a backlog. So after going through this yesterday, I think the language is starting to form. So initiatives have a backlog. So these are things that ultimately these will be things that are being thought out and decided upon whether they should be used or should be done, etc. And they'll get to an in progress phase. Once an initiative is in progress, it means it's we're planning it, we're doing all those sorts of things, or it's actually being executed on. Transition to planning. Planning is the detail of initiatives. So you will be able to identify requirements and whatnot. And as you go through building the requirements out, they'll also require review and able to add. And then once things go into in progress, we'll see basically a similar view to this in progress. There'll be all the uh, deliverables that are currently in flight, whether they're being in development or whether they're waiting for deployment. Right? And implementation, similar dashboard. And so the dashboard, the backlog here is all the work that needs to be done by development and delivery teams. And boards will allow you to track tasks as you're going through. So this is part of that in progress phase of implementation. And then delivery will have things that are now pending delivery. Or, can they be tied together and as an actual release? So this view is the one I have the least idea of right this second, because I need to get all the foundational pieces of beginning up and running. Let's see if Claude. So let me that, and you should see my prompt. So you can see that Claude is bringing away on end-to-end testing right this second. As always, if you are new to the stream, if you are interested in what I'm doing, if you'd like to know more, you are more than welcome to ask questions. The stream is not about me making progress on this project, or about sharing the things I am doing and the things I am. But if I don't make progress in a stream, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, the initiatives, we had the details. This isn't the final version. I think I need to make a few tweaks to this layout, but ultimately it should look very similar to the planning items, right? So the deliverables that are defined. So again, the business objective is kind of the goal, right? Um, the owner and the title, etc. So this is what that is. This should clarify. Get back to that error in a second. The initiative detail clarification here. This is not that is the requested timeline. That's not the actual timeline, right? That is the time window in which it is requested to implement this thing. It's all very well and good to say, hey, we want this to run from this date to this date, but that's not always feasible. So ultimately, what I'll provide is some level of boards here to show the initiatives that are in flight, etc., and their estimated risk. So, as I have with planning, there's this risk column. Risk column is using the alignment to weight the risk with the review date and the progress of items with the current status of the item. So, if this is being defined, we have until April 25th to review it next time. There's no risk on this, right? I put business alignment on it, maybe it increases the risk because, yeah, we've got to figure out what that looks like. But ultimately, there'll be a calculation here of general risk, and in similar concept, based upon progress against work items, against the tasks, the risk will be indicated on the initiatives as to whether your requested timeline is actually feasible. This shows the starting date, the expected starting date, and not the range. So I'm still not sure whether I like it. But we'll get there. Right now, Ford is still figuring away. I forgot I need to keep getting used to turning that off. His backlog. I shoveled the pathway about an hour ago. It's post text is running soon. Okay. So yeah, it's still snowing. It's due to stop snowing around 4 o'clock this afternoon, and then snow and rain on and off for the next three or 4 days. So it'll either be very messy or very difficult to. It's a nor'easter, so you could kind of end up on the north side of it, I suppose, a little bit. Okay, so yeah, open. Now, my intention for initiatives is there's actually more to them than just this, right? So it's not just a case of putting a bit of detail in here and then building deliverables. The deliverables have to come after discussion. So I need to add in components like the actual discussion components, like capture those things. I also want to introduce some AI here. This is one of the areas I think that AI could actually help a lot because it sets the foundation for what comes next. So I'm thinking that this will be usable in a way that I've used, Ford, etc., for my stuff so far. In that I could say, hey, I've got this idea, I want to evolve it, and you can have a conversation and capture um, the artifacts of that conversation as plans or things to feed back in, because then you could actually, in theory, um, identify the deliverables from that. So if I create some standard prompts that control what the AI is doing a little bit more, I might be able to um, create an experience here where you can say, hey, I have this initiative I want to follow. I want to dive in the details. I want to understand what it is, and uh, really start to plan that out. That's kind of where I'm thinking of heading. And right now I'm kind of stalling because I need the end-to-end test to run and finish. Um, I thought I'd made them a standard part, but it's running Chromium in the background. Um, but I think at this point in any application development, you have to, whether you like it or not, evaluate whether you are how you use AI, what it means to your product. I think that this product specifically has a really solid use case for using AI to generate ideas. I'm not talking about taking it through to the delivery. I don't want to. I'm not trying to take this down the path of, oh well, now when you've created the initiative, you create all the deliverables. When you create the deliverables, you might as well create all the tasks for it. And when you've created all the tasks for it, you might as well just create all the work with it, right? I'm not planning on doing that. If teams were to decide to do that, then that's on them. But I don't feel that that is where I want to head with it. I think I want to help the initiative phase because I think that's the area where we lack the most details in post development, is because it's hard to think about what you want, um, hard to lay that down as a set of requirements, and it's hard to when that's delivered. And a lot of what this project is do is improve that understanding what is delivered, when it is delivered, rather than the hows and the complex tool processes. Um, so I think an AI process here would be kind of useful. Well, while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead. So um, let's go over to Project Kaizu. Again, you can see I've used this for this purpose, right? I've helped it validate um, uh, the real question: can you afford to not AI code the entire faster but copier? I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities. A lot of that were generated with good intent, um, and whether that's with AI or not is another question. But I think that it does generate relatively solid code when you are focused on it, and especially Claude. But you do have to pay very close attention. I feel that the hand holding somewhat outweighs the speed. So I want to introduce AI question time. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to use AI in this case. I'm not going to have it because one of the things that I have found. No, no, I'm not. I don't want to adopt using AI on the back end. I've already decided that part. I've tested that part. Um, and one of the things I was about to say was what I found is when you ask it a question such as what I was about to ask it, like, how do I do this? It's going to give me a design. And that design is based upon whatever implementations it's got available to it. And what that does is it sends me down a path of just copying what other people have done. It doesn't mean that what they've done is necessarily the best way. It doesn't mean it's the right way or the fastest way. It just means it's what it's got available to it. So when it comes to this, I think I want to understand enough of pieces before I actually get the guidance on it. Now, it likely will come up with something that is pretty solid because there's a lot of solutions available to it. But at the same time, I don't want it to drive my design. Um, I don't like. I have built some stuff out um, with Claude on building backend system, and our styles do not match. Stuff it generates, not what I would build. So part of why I'm using the AI on the front end is because I can now um, go faster on the stuff I'm the weakest at. But anyway, what I was thinking about there was um, how now I know how to use LM Studio. Um, I've used it before. I've experimented with this before. Yeah, I actually created a bot that didn't actually use LM Studio last time, I think. But so LM Studio has an API, and so if you turn it into developer mode, it wakes up. Come on. And the reason I'd be using local is because I would want to um, I would want to keep my tokens under control. So yes, it might be slower. Sorry, I'm trying to think about what I need to do next at the same time as trying to talk, and that's so. Yes, it will be slower. However, it will also be um, way cheaper in terms of trying to use one of the LLMs I pay for to experiment with this. And ultimately, I don't want to use a publicly available LLM because I would want to um, have access to uh, an actual tenant's planning so that you could actually build this out and say, well, actually, you've already got these features. You probably don't want to do this initiative, or this initiative will likely conflict or complement this other initiative, and kind of give you an overall context of the way the system is working. Um, so yeah, trying to think about it from that respect. So a local makes a lot more a lot more sense to me. 7B, but encoder 30B. So this machine has um, 5060 with 128 gig of memory and a 5950X. So it's got 32 cores available to it, 16 with hyperthreading, and a good chunk of memory available to it. So I think I can go with something like this quite happily. Now, I've got to learn about like how developers a prompt there. Reload uh encode. Can you update models? I don't know. Um model set encoder net. 80 billion, 3 billion active parameters designed for coding agent local development. Excel's a long horizon reach. Problem is, I don't think I actually have any space left on this. I think that might be my second. I have to have space. Come on. So right now we can go back to what we had. We don't need that necessarily running. Test this next. So you can host a server and can then compatible, Anthropic compatible, believe. Let me know if this creates any problems for the stream, stuttering or coding problems at all. I'm hoping it shouldn't actually impact that much. Find out. Bugs are. What does that mean? How can I board? Board. I believe this is a settings file. Let's suppose an Anthropic. The other one, at least 32 gig of RAM and a model with 64K contest, genuinely useful. Okay, so how do I set up LM board? Go to AI generate a Jira file and then I can point it at a time. Get it to make a plan for complete initiation. Plan. Yep. Yep. Okay, so you can just do that's where I think that's where people are going to get themselves in trouble because they're going to use words and miss all the nuances happen with the development. And you've seen the tests it can create. So I get it. I get that it's quicker. I get that it generates something and it will look right for a while. But I'm still not as confident with it that it, just hey, look, just look at Jira. Um, yeah. Um, uh, so does that run on one, two? Is that what that is? 1, 2, 3, 4? Yeah, okay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we just set it. Here's a simple PowerShell. Run it with Claude Local Quencoder. This sort of stuff I'm fine with because it's stuff that I know what I want, but I don't know how to do it, and it'll take me a long time, a long side quest to do it. So at least if I can have the script available to me, then I can learn more about the specifics. And it's small enough that it's not difficult to understand what it's doing. Um, there is. So can't download another model because I've not got no space on the machine, and I'm not buying hardware at this point. That's cool. You It's document Claude local. I believe I have that tools directory path. So that script, I'm able to experiment more with it since my project isn't real. Yes, and I think that's exactly what I've done. I've built several projects to varying levels of completion, um, and but I've again on the game library, I've created a few versions. And actually, what I started to realize is once I started to create the game library and follow the clean architecture path, the code that it generated was not. I was not comfortable with maintaining. It wasn't bad. It, for Claude, it was not bad. It is something I'd definitely say you should consider. But you really need to keep it small, decent refactoring. You got to remember, if you have a style, if you have a preference, you have to really tune that into it. Because it's taking code snippets, samples. That's how it's building things. Not following in one style. You have to really get to tuning it. Okay. So this is check if the studio is running. If it's not running, try and restart. Try and start it. Otherwise, try and run it, and then give it local start the model. So I can now do if I can do that. Do Claude local / model when give me. Oh, the script contains malicious content has been blocked by your antivirus software. Hey, Strawberry Kitten. Come in. Where Linux? Uh, I have to use Linux. Is that a requirement? Yeah, you have to enable rights, but it's my power. It's not even. It actually didn't fail to run that. It did run it. It just uh, it just fell foul of Bitdefender. Bitdefender was the one that actually said no, doing malicious thing. I need to figure out how to get. Strawberry Kitten. I mean, in terms of operating systems, um, I've been a Windows user most of my career. It's not that I've never used Linux. Um, By mandatory. Connection. How do PowerShell try to load a malicious resource detected as blocked? Actually, that meta signature. That's interesting. That actually matched the signature. That's impressive. Let's do this. Let's remove the part where it tries to start it. Yes, part where it tries to initialize. Likes it. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do. Let's go to. I don't want to mess around with. Um, Local model when. Okay. So it's failing MCP servers because it's trying to run locally. Now let's bring up LM Studio. Let's see. Oh, server error. Awesome. Interesting. Doing too well here, are you? Hold on. What are my parameters? Context. Got stuck in his. Got stuck in a loop there as well. Model. Do a small. Let's exit that. That. Oh, what model are you? Ah, it's still erroring. Doing it faster. This is useful for me to understand what it takes to even get this. That's why I'm doing this now, because I've just got to add extra fields and stuff on the application side. So, but this is a big part of this next phase is to try and figure out how to get this to be more discussion driven. So when it's in the initial phases, when it's in this like these phases aren't real, but when it's in the um, gathering phase, the very first thing you add the initiative in, the expectation is that you go off and figure out what um, what is expected to happen in that. That's all discussion. That's not. There's no deliverables of that. No, there's no need for deliverables because you haven't actually defined what it is you're trying to build. So but it's even before acceptance criteria. This is like, okay, have we asked the questions? Have we understood the use case? Do we understand the why? Right. So when you go to add a new initiative, here's the prompt, right? It goes name, business objective, the why. What are you trying to achieve here? That shift, by the way, is caused by the impossible to remove odd pass. Um, so the why matters. So what you're trying to do is drill into that, get those. Um, well, requirements are what do we expect to see in the acceptance criteria as what passes like as meeting those requirements. Um, that's how I kind of see the difference. But in this case, it's not even determining the acceptance criteria and requirements. Yeah, it's the establishing the reasons why you're trying to do this initiative, what problems it will solve overall. Because with those, once you understand those, you can drive into the requirements of that delivery. So, um, well, requirements too, like requirement might be um, I want to see something or I want something to happen. The acceptance criteria is how you determine uh, that you've met those requirements. Right? That's how I kind of see the difference. And requirements are specific. Is what I actually require for this to be there. Acceptance criteria are the how do you validate the requirements are met. Oh, fabricating retracted the message and then left. But why? Where Linux? Apparently, Linux is a prerequisite for viewership. Okay. Requirement: when I click the button, it submits a form. Acceptance criteria: I can play with it. Uh, well, requirement might be that I can log into the application. Acceptance criteria that might be I can log in as a administrator. I can log in as a whatever. You could actually set acceptance criteria around the requirement, right? But yeah, same path. Okay, so that's not working. See if Claude, let's see if Claude can help me out. Ah, it's an unsupported model. Try a model known to work well with Claude. Quencoder, Quen3 coder. Okay. Set that miserable. Enable Quen3 again. You do now. Rough. Um, yeah, it says in credit. I guess that's why I don't have a clear difference. I can register the plugin as that. Yeah. Um, I kind of see the requirements as the generality and the acceptance criteria as the specificity of the actual behavior. Come on, give me an actual error message I can come up with. You're repeating the same thing. It's stuck in a loop. Oh, what? Approved. Still sound like hello. Right. We're predicting. No. Context window is too small. Aha. Okay. Server settings. Context model. Right. So oh, yeah, that's put up. That'll make a difference. If the stream stops, it's because I just ran my machine out of memory. Okay, 8, 120. There's the significant load of adding a model in there. This might not be the smartest thing. We might want to lower that context window. Oh no, it's popped out at 100 gig. Am I dropping frames? You tell me. There might have been a pause and stutter as it kind of got settled in, but it looks like it's streaming. No drop frames from my side. We're waiting for that. What difference? That's requirements. Let's learn together the definitions. Requirements define what must be true about the system. Acceptance define how we verify a specific piece of work meets those requirements. Okay, so yeah, we're on the right path. We have capabilities, constraints, or behaviors. We operate at different levels. Business requirements, why, functional requirements, what it does, non-functional requirements, how well it does it. Okay. What is scope? Acceptance criteria, specific conditions satisfied for a story deliverable to be complete. Yeah. Given I'm logged in, when I click new initiative, then a model appears where the requirement might be I need to log in. Yeah. Can anyone confirm that the stream is up and running fine? Because it doesn't look like I've been hit. It looks fine to me. Okay. Um, is this working now? Yeah, if I start dropping frames, just let me know. So I don't have to use this machine for this purpose. What I'll do is what I'm going to do, and you know, a friend from YouTube would have been okay with it. Is I'm going to set up the frame. I'm going to install Linux on the framework machine. That's got 64 gig. It's not the best in terms of memory, but it is a decent processor. Use that as an actual LLM provider. I'll probably install this model on that. Bearing in mind it jumped me up about 50 gig. Do this. Wow, that takes a long time. Doing. Is this a startup cost? That is insane. do that. To all that content. let's let's try and ease the pressure a little bit. There you go. That dropped it down. That dropped the so it's taken about 40 gig of its own. Now just put some on the CPU, the GPU, which might be a bad idea because that might affect the. Now back up to 90 gig. Um, let's let it load. So what my intent is here is to get a local LM, learn how to tune it a little bit, and then start using it to kind of have those chats with. I then want to explore more into vector databases because then I can add context on the fly, right? That's the way I think about it as a vector database. So basically, I can figure out, oh, you're looking at this project, you're targeting these things. Let's go and load past context from those things into the model and then give you that use case. Now, what I might need to consider is asynchronous. Like, hey, here's what we want to do. Here's how we want to do it. Give me what you're asking for, and we'll go off and work on that. We'll come back with some work for you. Which won't be the best experience, but it will be an example experience. Hey, Nicholas, how you doing? Um, right now, this is a little bit of me trying to test Claude Code with locally hosted LLM. It seems to be incredibly slow. This might not be the right machine for this. I might need to get the framework set up. Can't take, 3 hours for a prompt. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna keep doing that. Not feasible at this point. Get that down. I have a framework desktop which will give me some more oomph. Trying to do this on a machine that I have um, uh, the stream running off of and everything else. Um, not ideal. Um, so what I'm looking at doing is using AI as a chat agent here in terms of when you're defining your initiative, starting discussions and stuff, being able to track uh, artifacts of discussion as things we need to do so that then you can feed them back in when you come to create the deliverables. You can say, hey, here's my artifacts from past conversations and things that we've decided upon, and now let's create a set of deliverables so we can kind of automate that piece of defining the deliverables. um, and I don't even mind if teams want to use that all the way up to requirements. That's fine if they validate in those requirements. um, but yeah, again, the idea is an initiative. You define deliverables. Deliverables are in planning backlog. The deliverable has requirements. You add requirements. Requirements have tasks. So you task out a requirement. And that was my discussion. The requirements, you would have acceptance criteria against the deliverable would be the acceptance criteria, um, rather than the individual requirements. So we'll have to get into acceptance criteria. Yeah. The plan is very much to have an initiative backlog. The backlog would be anything that's pending. Actually, that's one of the things I can do. I can make this um, define that status. Uh, have that in Claude code discussion. Come on. Yeah. So let's do bring that back up. Prompt up. Um, Sharing the prompt is cool. Okay, so let's do this. Do that. So let's get place. Oh, everything. Uploading detail component. File deliverable. What does your AI usage look like right now, Unicus? How are you finding these tools in how much really? Huh, okay. So I do need to add collaborators as well. Collaborators are so when you create an initiative, you set an owner and collaborators. And collaborators are that's funny that I don't put owner as optional. I mean, about me do it locally because I don't want to pay for it. Yeah. Well, I'm paying for Claude here. To get the UI, I'm definitely accelerating that because of using Claude because I'm completely talentless. However, um, um, yeah, um, yeah, it's a useful tool, and I think if you can use it as a good tool, um, then it's very helpful. But the way I want to use it in Kaizu is I want to allow people to the entire purpose for this project, the entire idea is because this phase is so lacking in most groups, and it's not necessarily people can't, it's that they can't keep everything in motion, and things need to go quicker, and things need to move faster, and we don't know when things are due. We lose track of things, so it requires people to ask questions and have meetings that don't need to be had because we're talking about things all the time. Whereas I'm trying to increase that visibility here. So by the time you get to this piece, again, why should developers get pulled through into meetings to talk about these things if people understand where things are? So if I can get these two pieces much faster and much smoother, then everyone benefits, right? Because more requirements, more acceptance criteria, a better understanding of the product you're developing leads to better implementation and better visibility across the board into where each phase is. And that's why initiatives have backlog and will have in progress. Planning has backlog and has in progress. Implementation has backlog and in progress, essentially. Um, we might name that in progress because each phase does have multiple phases. Actually, I'm working on a project for the office that is, well, I'm not working on it directly. Recently, they wanted to try to get a WhatsApp bot for ordering food using of um so I have a friend. He was experimenting with something similar, a WhatsApp bot to do something, right? And he said, have a play with it. Um, and it took me 10 minutes to make it behave differently. Um, and I'd never even experimented with that sort of stuff, but I turned it into a completely different bot, um, just with a little bit of playing with the prompt and because it wasn't locked down. Um, but he kind of got a. It was good because we got I got to see it and he got to build his tool better, and it was a fun learning experience. Um, you got to make sure that if you're accepting someone just typing something to your bot, they can't change it. Because yeah, I got it to change its personality and I got it to change what it was doing to some extent. Not trying to be too destructive with it. I didn't know how far to take it, but it was a prompt lesson for both of us. Thought was pretty good. Yeah, getting stronger, much better. Hot chocolate is definitely better when it's hot. Um, Really trying to. Mm, nice. I'm not sure. I don't think I want to ask what's that for my food order. Um, okay, I was going to. Yes, that's what I was going to introduce the. Um, um, let's update the um, status tables. Okay, just go through phases. Um, are defined as exploring. It has created viability of the comfortable. The meetings are over. I'm not for you. Where's it going? It's going well, Canny. Going well. We're making progress, right? So we're working on initiatives on the backlog. And KNN, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Trying to design out what initiatives look like the whole throughout these parts. Got the Trying to get this flow together, get the phases in there. I've just been playing with some LLM stuff, but this machine is not going to hold up very well to the LLM, so we're not going to do that right in this second. Where my brain work. Okay, there we go. Once they're comfortable and needed shift. Um, is workable shift. Fitted phase beginning on finding deliverables. Um, See how it understands me. Once those rules done, initiative planning. tasks against those deliverable items. Press. Wait. Let's see. Might be a load of text that I didn't need. So again, I'm using my use of AI here is using it to help rubber duck in terms of figuring out some of these ideas and stress testing some of my ideas. I have had quite a bit of luck recently with basically telling it, don't validate me, push back against my ideas and make me think about them. And I think I've really enjoyed doing that process, right? Because it's it gives me a little bit more confidence that the ideas hold up. Um, you think about implementing MCP in the app? Um, Not directly. Um, I don't want to get into the world of having it having Claude hook up to initiative and say, "Yep, now go generate the code." I'm not really interested in doing that this way. I've just been talking about. Uh, we'll see how that one goes. Um, Sorry. I have just been talking about. I do want to introduce interaction with an LLM from this piece where you can go and ask it, like I've just said, using it to validate ideas, using it to talk through the initiative concepts, um, and using that. So I'll get my framework machine installed and get LLMs installed there. They create some tasks, yeah. So we will we'll definitely get to the point of creating deliverables from those tasks. I think. Um, yeah, the entire intent of this is to kind of again visualize where something sits, right? Where the projects are in progress. Make sure the visibility is yeah. So on the planning side, to that point, right? Planning side, backlog here has this risk field, and this risk field is based off business alignment with the review date and your progress on the tasks you've done. The risk is indicated there from a product management perspective. From a leadership perspective, when you go into the backlog, you see these dates. This is the requested timeline, and basically, once work begins, we'll use the trajectory of the team to indicate risk at that level as well. So we'll be able to say, based upon velocity, calculated velocity of the team, we will be able to. And Santiago, okay, Santiago, thank you very much for the follow. In the final product MCP, the AI can interact with the application on it. Potentially, I'm not. I don't want to drive this towards AI prematurely. I don't want to. I'm not trying to think about how AI, other than the getting the requirements, because I feel this is the weakest part of any development of any product team, is getting enough work lined up and clear and validated in time for implementation to begin. Right. So I think that's a very weak area for most teams, is to get the planning phase done in enough time that we don't have to rush the development phase. So, but I'll never say never. MCP stuff is on the cards. It would be. From an education perspective, it'd be useful, right? But I think I have to. Right now, I think I have to get. So here's where I need to get to. I need to be able to get to. Can I build an initiative? Can I task that initiative out? Can I get it through the planning phase? Add the requirements to it, right? Can I get the tasks on there? Can I work the tasks, and then can I get it through to deliver? Um, and that's where I want to be. I want to make it so I can dog through the application. I don't want to take the complete detour down um, the AI wonderland right this second, because it's not one of my focuses. It's not something I enjoy really overall, as the idea of having it do everything for us. Um, it needs validation, and I feel that that's the thing we when it creates so much, we lack the energy to validate everything. You need to be trusting it's going to generate the right. But yeah, I get where you're heading. Create a backlog for creating following application. Yeah, I would create all need items in Kaizu. Definitely would be worth um, considering. But I think I'm going to piece it in essentially with the way I'm talking about it. And Mojo, good morning. Sorry. Updated initiatives dashboard. Replace the hard coding complete this quarter on time. Complete in progress. Total contribution. Okay, so there you go. That was better. So in progress. Exploring. Yeah, there's nothing on it. Fitted. Okay. In planning. Complete. Progress. Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, so the way I'm seeing it right this second is when you go into like this committed one, you'd um you'd want to do some initial discovery. Um, because I was stuck with my project managing a manual mode, text file with to-dos, etc. And there would be a project I could tell the AI put these items into that product. That is a fair point. A fair point. Yeah. Oh, we'll add it to the backlog. Oh. Okay. So let's get that committed. Initiative phase. Okay. Yeah, well. Okay. One of the things I do have to consider as well is potentially getting this app up on hosting once I've got this next process in place. So what I want to be able to do is my validation of Kaizu in its current form will be, can I go and say, um, um, I'm going to build my game library application. Can I track all the pieces I need through that and do some of the development with that and validate it, something through to delivery? I think that's my measure of this is ready to be played with. Then I can, because I've got to establish what MVP is, right? I can keep going down rabbit holes of, again, even if I go down the AI path with this right this second, it's useful from a learning perspective, but it's not useful from a um, practicality perspective because I can't put that live. I can't host models in shared hosting. I can't use my own hardware to host models for other people trying to test this application. So I have to make that if I can get the product to be a product, then I can worry about that. Why are you running this? Well, right now this version is not live at all. I do have some B-Link hardware that I had previous version installed on, and a public a Cloudflare funnel too, so people could test it when it was up. But I'm planning on using some shared host to install Kubernetes cluster on and get it all up and running there. The problem with that is before I do it, before I make it available again, I have to shift away from SQL Server. This is too big for me to cloud host in the traditional, in the Azure or AWS space. So I'm going to need to use some shared hosting server to install a Kubernetes cluster on, get it running, which isn't going to be the most performant, but it will serve to demo. But again, I don't want to be installing SQL Server if I'm going to shift to a paid model at some point. Again, there's things like Kafka in here. There's things like RabbitMQ, and when they're hosted in Kubernetes, they're fine. But obviously, they're not going to hold up to high traffic situations. They'll hold up to a couple of dozen users testing it for certain. But if it goes beyond that, it's not going to scale very well. The system's going to become much slower. So I need to, even if I never make it to product, I still need to treat it like I would do, so that I can have that potential. Yeah. Yeah. The idea would be to run it on a Kubernetes cluster. Shared hosting for right now. Okay, so let's do this. So I want to. We're going to do one last thing before the end. I need to finish on time. I cannot go late today because I have to. What's the tool called? Figma. A lot of snow to clear already. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take this. Right? And we're going to go here. Do another Figma make. And paste that. Are we going to paste that? Oh. There you go. And then we're going to go to here. I have. Thank you for making my room cold, dog. Attached screenshots. First is current. Second. My room was nice and warm. The dog just barged in, knocked the door open. And now cool air. Hallway rush. Oh, thank you. Okay. Sorry. Well, luckily I didn't do very much. So what I've done is I've opened Figma and I have taken a screenshot of this and I've taken a screenshot of this. And I've said, I'm going to say, hey, I want the initiative design to look correct for the overall application style. because I believe the detail screen of the planning item, the deliverable, is a little more on point for where I want it to be. And ultimately, you will be able to watch initiatives as well. So the second, the current one, like update the initiative screen. Match like that. Let's see how that goes. Thank you for the heads up there, Judy. Appreciate it. I do keep forgetting to do that. Now, I've been impressed with Figma Make. Again, my talent is not on the front end. I'm definitely a much better back end developer. Um, and the speed at which this allows me to go and get something resembling a product is helping me a lot. That being said, if I take Kaizu to production and it actually became a paid app, the first thing I would do is hire the front end developers to build a new version of the front end, designers and all sorts, because it's not something I believe in just using the machine to solve for me, because I can't consider everything. I can't use my expertise here. I do know, hey, it's not accessible. Penpot? What's Penpot? What is Penpot? Is that like a Figma alternative? Collaborative? Yes, okay. Open source, got it. I'd imagine we're getting close to that, where everything can do it, right? Not a bad thing. But if you are new to the stream, if you've not been in here before, and you have questions, thoughts, or opinions on what I'm doing, you are more than welcome to ask. You do not have to, if you do want to learn more about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, how it's designed, any of those questions, you're more than welcome to ask. The stream is not intended for me to get a lot done. It's intended for me to kind of share my process along the way. Um, okay. What? It's not a bad design. Now that's because I think that might be because I told it earlier on to give me a list screen. Realizes there's navigation there. I'm not in. I'm not hating that design overall. Let's see what it does when it gets the colors update. Again, for me to do this, it would take me, so long to get the layout figured out, the positioning of everything, the controls, the colors, everything like that. And I'd be spending all my time doing that and not enough time getting the data or the backend updated. At least if I can, what I'm doing here right now is I'm building a lot of these screens out with little backing data. Um, Once they're done, I can go back through and back all these fields out, like put them in place in the back end. Like some of them have to be done, right? The initiatives have most of the data done. I've done a lot of the scripting and the delivery of. I renamed everything deliverables, right? So I went through the entire system, got rid of the planning item wording, worded, and got the deliverables in there. I got the initiatives with the new fields in there yesterday and got all them up. So it's not like I'm not doing any back end code, but at the same time, there's things like the status, there's things like um, the navigate, the behavior of what? What is it? I don't want. I've got to be careful here because whatever I feed Claude will then get picked up. So it'll pick up on things like goal or whatever. And I don't want it to now rename business objective to goal because we've already been through that discussion um, where I kind of drilled into what am I labeling these fields. And again, that process of having the conversation. Um, oh no, hit my credits. I don't hate that design though. Don't mind this design. Okay, rename business objective. Okay, so what I do here is I share this and I go over and I'm not gonna have enough time because I have to finish up, but I am gonna start it going. Um, let's do clear that. Try to update the detail, and this is why I do that page. Um, good. Not okay. So I'm gonna leave that going. That's gonna take a few minutes to go. Um, and in the meantime, I am gonna have to raid out. I have a dog crying. Uh, is loading things up and doing. So there really is not many people. Oh, it'd be cool if OBS had a kind of plug-in to do some active apps and bit screen. Yeah, she wants to go outside and play in the snow. Um, well, fortunately, I'm gonna have to finish up. Um, I gotta go. I gotta shovel snow before I start work. So AOA is streaming, so we will head over there. AOA is a designer, a very, very, very talented designer, and recommend checking his stuff out. If you make it something active, bring it to the layout. Active, hide it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It would be kind of cool to do that. Something the Figma make design document. Okay, cool. Well, I will be back on Wednesday evening, 619. I will make more progress in this, and yeah, so I will be back then. Um, you are interested, if you want to hang out and you want to ask more questions about this, there is a Discord linked in the cards below. And all the videos do get sent up to YouTube. So there's a lot of content on there over the evolution of this product over the past few years. So uh, thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it. Take care and have a great rest of your day.